let's move on to a different small market team, and we're going to be talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, a guy playing out of his mind, the Greek freak. I mean, we talked about him a little bit last year near the end of the season when he took over for the point guard role for Milwaukee, and obviously he was playing lights out then, and he's just been nothing short of what he was doing last year. He's been absolutely ridiculous. I mean, just looking at his stats, 22 points, I believe, near 10 rebounds, and 6 assists a game. I mean, it's been utterly ridiculous.
And 2 blocks and 2 steals.
Yeah, I mean he's a stat stuffer. Yeah. He's a stat stuffer. And you know, some people might be coming to this video and being like, Giannis Antetokounmpo is a superstar. What are you talking about? We had this discussion with Mr. DeMar DeRozan, and it wasn't the fact that, you know, superstar level player or, you know, the caliber of a superstar. It's more of superstar in the fact that he's getting national notice, because Milwaukee, I mean, it's not a big market at all.
Sorry, you're not New York, you're not LA.
It's more of, if this guy was in LA, how big of a superstar would he be?
Incredible.
That's the thing. So I just want to clarify that we're not saying that he's not a great player, because Jesus Christ, look at the kid. He's ridiculous. We said, is he big Russell Westbrook or small LeBron James? But really, I think that Giannis is a superstar, but how much is he hurting that he is in Milwaukee?
It's only a little bit. I think that he is someone who can bring Milwaukee, like, sports, like, to the national level again, because what he's doing is something so unique that we haven't seen really. And, well, up until this year, triple-doubles were very rare, and players who were kind of teetering around that level were fantastic players. And he's someone who, this year, like you said, you know, 22, 9, and 6, he's right in that dangerous area, and he's one of the best performing players. And the thing that he does above all else is he makes his team better around him. So not only is he a stud of a player on your team, but he's also a cornerstone of your team, and he's a guy who you can build around for a long period of time. And this guy has progressed so much in his first couple of years in the league. Like, he started out, I mean, no offense, but, like, he was one of those guys who, it was a stretch in the draft. Everybody was like, I don't know if this will pan out. We'll see where it goes. He was kind of a weirdly proportioned guy who wasn't built up yet. And we watched him grow into someone who can do everything. We talked stat stuff, or absolutely top to bottom, anything on the stat sheet, he can fill it in for you. And I think the best part about it is he is, like, super energized to play basketball. So I think if you're looking for a superstar who fits every category, he's media friendly, he is market friendly, he is team friendly, like, everything you want, he's got it. It's just a matter of how long, if he can sustain this level, because we watch him progress. The question is, like, all right, is this just like another small peek into the window of greatness that you will become? Because he's still a young guy.
Yeah, and the one thing, too, with you bring up Milwaukee sports, I mean, you constantly look at the superstars that they create. I mean, they draft Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Kareem stays there until 75, and then he goes to L.A., to a big market.
And blows up.
Well, and Kareem was a fantastic player in Milwaukee, too, but it was just more, he blew up because he was in L.A. He was the guy who brought titles back to L.A. And then you look at a guy like Oscar Robertson, and he that was in his later half of his career when he did go to Milwaukee, and that's when he was putting up those ridiculous numbers of triple-doubles in the 70s when he was playing with Kareem. But then you look at, you know, Milwaukee Brewers, and you look at, you know, just the you know, Michael
state of Milwaukee right now, though. I mean,
Michael Redd before. I mean, they haven't created that many superstars. The superstars were either created where Oscar Robertson's legacy has not been reached, and people have realized the ridiculousness of him now, the fact that he averaged a triple-double in a season, or the fact that, you know, Milwaukee had a guy like Kareem, and then he went to a big market, and then people realized that. So I think that Milwaukee does limit his potential, and I'm not saying, you know, playing-wise. I think it's just more of the fact that they cannot bring, you know, another superstar, and maybe not even that, but the fact that they can't bring national level attention or big market attention to him, and the fact that you know, they're not going to get a lot of primetime games because they're not going to be bringing him that many viewers. I think that's going to be very difficult, and I think the one place that he could kind of change that is the All-Star game, because if he's able to go out in the All-Star game and make a significant impact, or he's able to go out into, I don't know, say like the dunk contest or something, he's able to make a ridiculous impact, or the playoffs. I think that's the one play where stars are made, and it's not really in the regular season. So he can have a fantastic year, but if the Bucks aren't making the playoffs, then he won't get that national attention.
Looking at his contract, I just think of one thing with Giannis. I think that this window for the Bucks around Giannis, they got 2 years. The reason why I say that is not necessarily like, oh, Giannis is going to fall off after 2 years. It'd be stupid to say.
He's 22 right now.
But I look at it, you have 2 free agent classes, 2 of them. to build a team around him. You have 2 years to get the pieces that you need to compete in the East, because I look at that 2019-2020 season salary. Oh, it's a little green number. That's an early termination of his long year extension that he signed. Guess what? He's going to opt out of that because of after the new CBA, that sets up perfectly for a new extension. Also, it could be one of those things where it's like, hey, we're not doing so hot because we've fumbled on some things. He may terminate and walk. They might even 2018, 2019 might be an interesting year for the Bucks, because if they can't build anything, yes, they are getting better. Yes, they are a top 4 seed right now in the East, but they got to hit on their next 2 off seasons.
One thing too, as well, looking at contracts, because the other great player in Milwaukee is Jabari Parker. If you look at his contract, I believe it's either
he's a restricted free agent.
He's a restricted free agent, but also his contract goes up in 2018, 2019
so you're
as
gonna
well.
Have to pay him.
So you're gonna have to pay him. You're gonna have to pay Giannis as well. And looking at Milwaukee, obviously the cap's set, and it's a hard cap.
The good thing though about Jabari is, and this is me just kind of thinking about it, Greg Monroe's deal will officially be done the same year that Jabari's is done. So I just look at it and I take that $17 million that Greg Monroe's taken and put that in a little bit more to Jabari.
Yeah, and what I was more saying was the fact that if you have these two players, you're going to need to hit in the draft, and you're hoping that Thon Maker can hit in the draft.
I mean, you got to watch out because Thon Maker's prime is past, so you got to lock it down.
It says 19, but he's really
he's come on, we all know.
Yeah, and you have a good player.
A 38-year-old man, right?
You have a good player in Delhi, and Tony Snell's been good so far, and also Brogdon's been good off the.
Sorry, you said Tony Snell, and I just, as a Bulls fan, can't handle it.
We can't talk about the Bulls, Dave. Brogdon, though, off the bench has been great too. But the one thing is they're either going to need to hit in the draft for a big man so that you can put players around, or at least shooters, because you have 2 big guys there. Possibly a guy who could play, who could be a rim protector for you, so Giannis can roam and be free to really play any position. But what I'm trying to say is you need to find a third piece there, and you need to have a deep bench. And I think that looking at Giannis and Jabari, those 2 are 2 great pieces for you. But I think that with no one else really around there, and no one else near their level that can take over a game, I think that's going to really hurt them. And I think that's really the reason why you look at this team and they haven't been able to take that jump where they're going to be able to cement themselves in the playoffs this year.
I think the biggest thing, like you said, was need to get the guys around them. I think Brogdon, absolutely fantastic choice of pick, and the other guy is Thon Maker. If Thon develops into anywhere close to what we think he can be, he's a guy in a similar situation to Giannis when it was guy is not ready for the NBA, but he has the talent. He has the raw makeup to be a great player in the NBA. So let's work with him. Let's give him time. And what I really want to see is him develop on the court playing with them, because I think that would make just one of the best one of the best teams youth-wise under 25. That's ridiculous levels of talent. If you put Brogdon and Thon Maker together on top of Parker, on top of Giannis, that's a very, very good young core if Thon pans out.
I think Brogdon was a bench player for his career. I think
Brogdon likely will be a sixth man, but
that or like a Danny Green type of player where he's playing because of his ability to shoot.
Well, that's my thought. Is you need a shooter because you have Jabari, who's so great at going to the
Thon Maker apparently is a shooter. You ever see that kid? All he did in summer league was fire up threes.
Yeah, I know. But your 2 best players are slashers right now.
Yeah.
So you need outside shooting. So that's why Brogdon is so valuable. I think that's. I agree with you, and I'd just like to say that, just to give you some context around the LeBron light discussion we brought up earlier, at 22, LeBron put up 27, 6, and 6, shooting 47%. Giannis at 22, 9, and 6, and shooting 52%. Yeah. So it's scary. It's outright scary.
You also have to bring up the change that has happened in the NBA since 2004, 2005, where you didn't see a lot of point forward. LeBron really took over as point guard more near 2010 and stuff like that. He was still a very great player, and he usually did have the ball in his hands, but he was more running the offense later on in his career, where Giannis started
really
running.
year one.
Yeah, Giannis started running the offense. So I think that to go back to the question, I think that either Giannis is going to have to make himself a superstar in Milwaukee, or that his cap is going to be limited, because I think that talent-wise, he can be on the level of a James Harden, of a Russell Westbrook, of a DeMar DeRozan, because, look at what he's doing already. But the fact that he's not getting national attention like these players, because he's not in a place like...
If he was in LA or New York, he'd be on ESPN, all day, every day.
It would be the Giannis show. So, I think that Milwaukee has a great player, but I think that Milwaukee is held back on the place that he is. But really, real quick, just throw it out, early season thoughts, will Milwaukee make the playoffs?
They could. The reason why I'm saying they could is...
call.
Well, no, I'm not.
Piss or
I'm
get
not
off the
going
pot.
to. And
Piss
the
or get off
reason
the
why
pot.
is between the 3 and I want to say the 10th seed in the East right now, it changes daily. For example...
It does.
For example, the Bucks just beat the Bulls as we were talking about this. Bulls went from 6 to out of the playoffs. So it's one of those things that changes each and every day with wins and losses. So they could, just because of how competitive the East is going to be behind the Raptors and
if the Magic win 2 games and the Celtics lose 2, Magic are the number 3 seed.
Don't put that curse on me.
Instead of the number 12.
Don't put that curse on me.
The East has some time to spread out. I don't want to put the Bucks in the playoffs yet, because I don't think they're ready, and I don't think they will put up a good fight against most teams at this point. They're just not built for it yet.
The one thing I do want to say is how I talked about that early termination year for Giannis. I think it would be, to go back to that superstar, I don't think he's going to be a superstar unless he's in a big market. It'd be interesting to see if later in that career, if he gets traded to a big market.
You think traded, or you think he's going to be one of the guys who walks away from big money to go play in a big market?
He seems like hey, I'm young, why not go get that ring?
Because looking at it, just looking at the players that have that you can really have this discussion with, I think the ones that come to mind are Tracy McGrady in Toronto. He felt like that was early Toronto, where Toronto wasn't getting the attention they were getting. He went to Orlando. Same with Vince Carter. Vince Carter wasn't getting enough money. Vince Carter didn't feel appreciated in Toronto. He went to pretty much New York. He went to Brooklyn. He went to New Jersey.
I'm thinking New York for Giannis in 2 years if he does leave.
Yeah,
him and KP teaming up. That is just
Melo and Rose won't be there.
It's true.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be very interesting, and I think that the point we're trying to make, I think also a place that you could throw out there is Miami and Whiteside. Him and Whiteside would be ridiculous. So I think it's
Riley knows how to bring him in.
Basically, what we're saying is Giannis is a fantastic player who anyone around him is better because he's there, and he's a great fit anywhere. The problem is, go get yourself somewhere that you get media attention. Sorry, Bucks, because you're not going to pull in free agents.
I think the only way that you're going to be able to create media attention...
They got Dellavedova. They got Dellavedova.
I wish there was a camera here for my face right now.
I think we're going to...
Punching balls.
We're going to be wrapping up this podcast.
Kicking, but punching.
All right, we're going to be wrapping up this podcast. On that note there, I agree with you guys. I just think that he's either going to need to leave and go to a big market to become a superstar. And again, we're talking about the level of media attention and the level of fan knowledge of him. Because obviously, if you're watching a video on Giannis Antetokounmpo on a channel that has 4,000 subscribers, you obviously know who he is. But we're talking about the people who go into...
The general public.
Yeah, who's watching NBA, the general public. But really, I think...
One last thing before you wrap everything up. Can we get a moment for Craig Sager? A little bit of moment for Craig Sager. Am I stepping on your shoes? Were you going to do that?
No, I actually forgot. So thank you for bringing that up.
We got to talk about Craig Sager a little bit.
Yeah, we can talk about Craig Sager. I totally forgot. So thank you for bringing that up. Craig Sager passed away yesterday. I believe he was 65 years old after his battle with cancer. Obviously well documented in the last NBA season. He was finally able to do his first NBA Finals game in Game 6 in Cleveland after 30 years of working with Turner on the NBA broadcast. Craig Sager, one of the best parts of TNT. TNT is obviously the premier. I would say the premier basketball channel, at least when you're talking about games, because ESPN's great, but TNT, you have obviously the pregame with Ernie and Charles and Shaq.
You have all the personality in the world, and that's what he was.
And you have Kevin Harlan, and obviously when you go to Craig Sager on the sideline, it was something different. But Craig Sager was something else.
The thing that and this was me listening to Dan Patrick's show today, and obviously Dan Patrick actually knew Sager, but the one thing he said that I'm like, wow, that is something that like is one of the hardest things to do. Sager in an interview, although he's wearing the crazy outfits and more people are like, we're focused on the outfit instead of Craig Sager. The thing that I liked about Sager is he could ask you a tough question and not make it feel like he's punching you in the face.
Yeah. He had a lot of those moments.
He could ask you that question where it's like, this is a little controversial question, but I'm not punching in the face for it. He made it a friendly question.
Yeah. Made it easier on the players, easier on the coaches. I think definitely got some more info.
Especially Popovich.
He had a great relationship with Pop. I mean, Craig Sager, fantastic guy. I highly recommend, if you haven't heard it, listen to his Jimmy V speech. That's fantastic, and it's one of the all-time best.
Outside of Jimmy V himself, really.
Yeah, I'd say.
And Stuart Scott.
Yeah, those are the big three. But no, I mean, he'll definitely be missed across the NBA, and I'm happy that in the last couple of years he got a lot more notoriety and respect for what he's been doing, because I didn't realize how long he'd been doing it. I didn't realize how many major moments in sporting news that he was involved with. Like he was the first guy on the field there with Hank Aaron after he hit home run 755. Like
in a white trench coat.
Of course.
No, 715. That was when he broke
I'm sorry. Yeah. And it's just like most major sports things happen, and he was just there, and he was just doing his job, and it just kind of blows my mind to think that somebody got to do that for as long as he did, and he still had the passion for it at the end.
You get jealous of him too, man.
Yeah.
I'm definitely jealous of Craig Sager's career, and it's something ridiculous, the fact that, I mean, he's been able to do that for such a long time and really go unnoticed before this came out, because people take sideline reporters for granted, and that's the one thing that when you look at a guy like Craig Sager, I mean, he made sideline reporters stand out because of his theatric, because of his outfits, because of his ability to bond with players, and obviously Craig Sager's definitely going to be missed. And I know that I think we all have a big respect for Craig Sager, and the fact that I didn't mention him early kind of pisses me off, because
you got to end the podcast with the best, right?
That's true, and definitely check out the Jimmy V speech that he did, and also TNT put something together a video package. I think it was like 4 minutes long, and it was great, kind of encapsulating his career. So definitely check that out. And we are Sager strong here, and we're definitely gonna miss Craig Sager.
Is it the picks video this week, or is it one of your
both
previews?
All previews and picks.
Where you're going Sager strong?
I'm going Sager strong with my outfit. So we're tuning into the picks video and preview videos if you do want to check that out. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Ricky. I forgot my train of thought. It was really it was about Milwaukee kind of hindering Giannis, but it kind of feels pointless now. But anyways, thank you so much for listening to the Fast Break Podcast. Don't forget to check out patreon.com/mostvaluable podcast if you do want to help us and support us just a little bit more. And also don't forget to check out our Twitters and Facebook so you can contact us and get in touch. But anyways, for Ricky Widmer, for Dave Oster, I'm Sean Anderson, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter @MostValuablePod for more great podcasts.